Yeah, hi Frank. Yeah, I saw you were having a Black Friday sale on oil today. Yeah, it looks like quite a deal. I was just curious, could I order 55 barrels? Do I have somewhere to store it? Sure. I could put them in my garage next to my Tesla, I guess, right? Hello? Frank? Hello? Holy smokers, guys! It ain't no dang jokers out there. It's getting crazy. Crazy, okay? Yeah, we got to go through what's going on here in the market, what you need to do now, in my opinion, what I'm doing now, and everything like that. And the good news is oil is going down. We're going to get to that in just a moment, along with a lot more. But first, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do so. And it is Black Friday, which means our massive Black Friday sale is going on for the private stock group. Literally right now, if you want to take advantage before it ends, check out the pinned comment down there. That is a pinned comment to access the deals there. And literally, we haven't done a big sale like this since 2020. So yeah, needless to say, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we always do a big deal, and this is the time to take advantage, okay? Alrighty, guys, so let's get into this. Hope you enjoyed as always. So first off, good news. Crude's tanking, literally, and down almost 12% WTI today. So this is great news. This is great news on two fronts in a massive way. And this is a crazy big sell-off, all right? Now, first off, there's a lot of worries about a new variant out there and things like that, right? First off, for anybody that's not educated, I know a lot of people have zoned out in terms of hearing about Rona. Okay, like, you know, everybody kind of going into 2021, they're like, I'm so sick of Rona, I don't want to hear about it anymore, okay? Anybody that's uneducated and hasn't been following this, there's new variants coming out all the time, okay? The stock market and mainstream financial media is going to use whatever excuse, okay, they want to use. Literally, that's just the bottom line. They're going to use whatever excuse for why the market's going down, why certain things are going down. Doesn't mean we shouldn't take it serious. It's just understand this is not like the only variant that's come out. There's been a lot, and if you've been keeping track of this type of stuff, there's always like some scary new one from this country, that country, and they're like, oh, this one could be more contagious, this one could be more lethal, this one could be both, right? And so that is just something to keep in mind. This is not like never heard of a new variant or something when it comes to Rona, okay? This happens all the time. So with that being said, when you have something like that and you have a bunch of fear about, oh my gosh, what could happen here? Could this be something that ends up taking the whole economy down again in terms of like shutdowns or whatever, right? If you have all that fear build up into the market, it's not going to be good for crude oil, because this is something that is seen as, you know, if people are traveling, going places, right? And doing all these sorts of things and transporting goods, like crude's going to usually do this very, very well. And crude just tanked. I mean, down 12% is, you don't see crude down 10+% very often. That is an extraordinary move for crude oil. Like a 3-5% move is a huge move for crude. 12%? That's ridiculous. I mean, it fell off a cliff. Like, for crude oil to fall 12% is crazy. And I understand we had the crazy situation in 2020 where crude actually went negative for a bit. That was a crazy situation. That was like, you know, unprecedented, right? But, you know, just keep in mind, like, a 12% move is absolutely massive. But this is great news for two fronts. One is transportation costs have been ridiculous, okay? Container costs and just the transporting of goods in general have been astronomically high. And so the fact that crude comes down brings down transportation costs at least a little bit, right? Especially if you're talking about future quarters, and if this is a sustained downtrend for crude, which hopefully it is over the next few months, that is great news. That is great news for transportation of goods. Secondly, this is great news for the middle class, the folks that I feel run this economy, always have been and always will run the economy and really run the stock market. I said this on a video last night on Financial Education 3. I don't care. Well, talk is about the 1% and this much. Dude, the ones that really run this show are the people that make $40,000, $80,000 a year. They've always been the ones that really run the show, and they always will be the ones that run the show. Without those folks, there's no economy. There is no anything, okay? Just flat out. And if you make $40,000 to $80,000 a year, you have obviously a finite amount of money you can spend out there, right? So with other businesses and those sorts of things. But if all of a sudden you have to pay double the price that you used to have to pay to fill up your gas tank, That's not good, right? That's not good because that means you're spending way less money other places. And so, needless to say, this is a needs-based thing, and we already know the food store prices have gone insane over the past year. I mean, we looked at the Consumer Price Index for tons of those items, and it's been ridiculous how much, just like going to the food store has gone up as far as the bills there. And so, yeah, if the food costs can come down in some sort of way, which food costs, one of the reasons they went up so much, this is a big reason, is transportation. And secondly, if crude can keep falling, so oil prices hopefully, fall when somebody goes to fill up their tank with gas over the next few months, that's good things, okay? So let's hope that trend continues because I can tell you most people don't have electric vehicles right now. And so, yeah, if you're all of a sudden paying $4+ a gallon for gas, that's more money out of your pocket that you could have spent somewhere else, right? Or invest in the markets or whatever, right? Or took advantage of a Black Friday sale, something like that, right? Dow Jones Industrial average down over 905 points today. Big move down. Let's be honest for a moment here. The market's been looking for a reason to go down. The market's been looking for it. And it found its reason, at least here in the short term. So, yeah, 905 points. I think it's worth referencing, though. It's a 2.53% move, so which is definitely a very, very large move. But it's not crazy because, when, a few years ago, if you heard a 905% move, that meant the market went down 4 or 5%. It's 2.5% because the Dow's so, elevated nowadays, I guess we can say. But it's still a big move nonetheless. 905 points. We haven't had a move like that in a pretty good amount of time. The Russell 2000 really got slapped today. 3.5% down for the Russell here today. Futures were down 4.4% when I went to bed last night. It was ugly times ugly for the Russell. And we know, small caps have just been getting hit and hit and hit. And it's like, when does it end for the small caps? And the Russell 2000 is just represents some of the small caps. I think there's a lot of small caps that are underperforming the Russell in a massive, massive way. And a lot of folks are just like, when does this pain end for the small caps, right? You look at Bitcoin down 8% here today. Bottom line is, at the end of the day with Bitcoin's kind of like a call option on the whole financial markets in the stock market. And I know, Bitcoin folks will say, no, it's its own thing. No, man, this is a call option on the financial markets. If the stock market tanks, Bitcoin tanks. Flat out. If the stock market's doing great, Bitcoin's doing great. It's just the way the price action works. Like literally you can follow the charts. I don't care. Go back a year ago, go back a month ago. When Rona in March and April, look where Bitcoin was at, right? And then when the stock market started to skyrocket up, look what happened to Bitcoin after that point, right? And you look at a day like here today, Dow down 900 plus points. Look what Bitcoin's doing, is down 8%, right? But a lot of times if all of a sudden the Dow's up 900 points, a lot of times Bitcoin's going to be up, 7-8% all of a sudden, right? And so fear, it shakes a lot of Bitcoin folks out as well, and that's why you get an 8% downward move. And it wasn't just Bitcoin. Almost every crypto is down massively today, including Ethereum. Look at Ethereum, got hit even harder. Ethereum almost seems like a call option on Bitcoin nowadays. Ethereum down 10% here today. Just a massive, massive move. Obviously not great news for the crypto brokerages, whether we're talking about Coinbase or Voyager or Robinhood or anybody that benefits from crypto. This could mean higher trading volumes, which is a good thing, but lower prices, not a good thing, not as much money to be made there. But how long this sell-off lasts for, that's the real question, right? As far as, predicting how long a crypto sell-off will be, I'm not going there. That's not my cup of tea. We'll talk about stocks. We'll talk about the markets in general here, in my opinion, on how long all this will last for and what to do and those sorts of things. But I'm no Bitcoin predictor as far as that goes. All I know is flat out honest truth is if the stock market tanks, Bitcoin tanks. And if the stock market skyrockets, Bitcoin's going to skyrocket a lot more. It's just the way it works. You just pull up the charts and you'll find that over time, okay? Teledoc, good old T-Doc. So one of the few stocks, and I mean very few stocks that you could find that was actually up today. So when it comes to a stock like Teledoc, this stock's just been absolutely devastated, right? Highs at 308. It's at 109 here today. But if you're talking about a new variant and you're talking about, what does this mean? Could this mean, we ever have to shut down again? Anything like that. When you have all that sort of talk, whether it's just blah, blah, blah talk and it's just like pie in the sky, or whether it's serious talk, it's going to benefit a stock like Teledoc that is virtual healthcare, right? And so Teledoc obviously benefited today. I will caution folks though. Obviously if you're a long-term investor, you could look at Teledoc and you might feel like that's a deal, okay? But in terms of if you're trying to play this for any short-term play, just be careful, okay? That's all I'll say, because I can almost guarantee you there's a lot more tax loss harvesting that's going to come in Teledoc over the next few weeks. So unless this variant talk continues for the next several weeks and it builds up into a bigger and bigger thing, outside of that scenario, there's definitely a lot more tax loss harvesting that could go on in Teledoc. I think there was honestly even some today. I think Teledoc, if you look at Teledoc, it sold off big time, right? It reached 119 at one point today and it ended up finishing at 109. So it sold off $10 a share. That's a really large percentage compared to where it was at, which means, in my opinion, there's just an immense selling pressure on Teledoc from so many funds and investors that are down on this stock that are looking to write off those losses against gains they've had over the course of the year. Okay, and so yeah, TDOC, obviously a very, very interesting stock long term, but just watch out for the tax loss harvesting. It's clear as day what's going on in that one. All right. Zoom benefited in a big way today. So there's another Cathie Wood stock along with Teledoc, right? Zoom benefited. Stay-at-home plays are obviously going to benefit. Whenever you hear a lot of talk about Rona, a stock like Zoom is going to benefit. Now, the problem with Zoom, and I did a whole dedicated video to this stock on Financial Education 3. Make sure you're subscribed to Financial Education 3, by the way. Did a whole dedicated video on Zoom stock. The issue with Zoom stock, if you're a long-term investor, is just trying to figure out, how does this company compete with Google and Microsoft long term? They obviously have the brand name, which is phenomenal for Zoom, but how do they compete in that market long term, and how do they become more than a one-trick pony over time? Because if all they're going to be is the video conferencing platform for businesses, that's a limited market. And when you have folks like you're competing with Google, Microsoft, companies like that don't even necessarily care to make money off this business, they just going to throw it in with a bunch of other products, that makes it a little tough, right? And so here's another one that I would caution folks. Be a little careful with that one. Look what happened today. It reached all the way up to $235 and then just shot right down. $15 a share. Like I said, it got the hype all of a sudden, the hype behind it at the open and whatnot. And everybody's like, ooh, real excited. Oh, man, maybe they'll have to close down everything again. So, getting Zoom stock because that's, the video conferencing company for businesses. And then all of a sudden, a lot of folks are like, hey, let me take that loss on this stock. I'll buy back in 30 days from now. And so that's how you get another $15 sell-off from where it was the highs we're at here today, okay? Alibaba. So Alibaba, let me be clear about this. This is a win for Alibaba today. This is a W for Alibaba today, okay? So if you didn't hear, Didi, there's possibility Chinese regulators want it to be delisted. That is a new fear storm around the Chinese stocks, right? And so the Chinese stocks have already had a lot of distrust around them from the investor market. And then you hear about a delisting. And so when you have a massive sell-off, you also have all this new fear in the market. Then on top of that, you have, oh my gosh, well, if they, delist or want Didi delisted, who's to say they're not going to do it to Neo or Baidu or Baba or Tencent or right? And so for Baba to only be down 2.3% today, that's a win, guys. That's a massive win for Alibaba. That's actually a really, really good news, okay? So, in terms of Alibaba, there definitely can be some tax loss harvesting still coming in this one over the future weeks, but I will say this one's a lot closer probably to a bottom, outside of a serious situation where they actually got delisted. This one's a lot dang closer to a bottom than it is to a top. I can put it that way, because when you get this sort of sell-off, plus all that fear, and it only sells off, 2.3%, a lot closer to a bottom than a top in Baba, all right? Apple, there's the biggest market cap in the world. Apple's been looking for a reason to sell off. This stock had been climbing. You look back at a month ago, right? We're at $148 for the stock. It climbed all the way up to $165. I mean, this stock has just been climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. It was just looking for a reason to sell off, and it got that reason here today, right? It got that reason. We all know Apple's an amazing business model for the long term, but let's be quite honest about this. This company, as valuation has gotten to levels, it has been at very, very rarely in terms of forward P metrics, even price to sales metrics and things like that. So it's gotten a bit elevated, and a stock like this it's like Apple's just like, give me a reason to sell off, and down 3% plus today. Now, you go ahead and look at Tesla. Same exact situation. It's another one of those stocks that was just looking for a reason, right? Elon Musk isn't doing anything crazy about tweeting right now. So if it's like, hey, if Elon's not going to tweet anything crazy, we'll find some reason to go down. And you look at Tesla My Esla here today, down over 3% as far as the good old Tesla My Esla goes there, okay? Now, here's what I'll say about this. Don't let the opportunity pass you by. When you get in this sort of market and there's a lot of fear in the market, folks start getting, it can go lower. It can go lower. It can go lower. And so when you have fear in the market right now, plus a lot of tax loss harvesting going on that will likely continue for the next 3 to 4 weeks, all right? When you're in that sort of market, everybody's like, well, it could go lower, could go lower. I'm just going to say, be careful with that strategy, all right? Because at the end of the day, if you see a stock that is a great price, could it go lower? Absolutely. But why not take advantage and buy some shares here today? And that's the thing I think a lot of folks don't understand. They're like, well, it could go lower. The problem is if you keep thinking, well, it could go lower, eventually you end up you never get in the stock, right? You never buy it. And I remember even in the March 2020, right? I didn't really buy any stocks in March of 2020. I didn't start buying until April, and I felt more comfortable in the market, right, of 2020. And I looked at so many prices in March of 2020 that were just disgusting on stocks. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this stock's trading at this. By the way, travel stocks sold off massively today. But I was looking at all these stocks and I'm like, this stock Uber's trading at 14 and Wynn's trading at 30. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, right? But I was like, also thinking, well, it could go lower. Look at the market. It just keeps tanking and tanking. Maybe I'll get it lower, right? And then as soon as the market starts bouncing, it bounces quick. And so you're looking at so many small caps that have gotten incredibly cheap. There's a very high probability that within a week or two, on a forward PE basis, we'll be trading the cheapest for S&P 600 small caps that we've been trading at in a decade. And so when you see, opportunities in stocks you love, I would just caution anybody to, one, be a little worried about playing any short-term call options. Could we get a massive bounce back in January, February? Sure. But to, throw all your money in call options, short-term call options, very, very dangerous. So I'll caution people about that. Also caution people on the other side that just think, this stock could go lower. Why not take advantage and buy some? If you think it's a great price and you think that stock's going to 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x over the next 3-5 years, take advantage. Don't let those opportunities pass you by. Speaking about don't let opportunities pass you by, the chance of a lifetime, the deal of the century to get in the private stock groups going on right now. Get it before it ends. Much love as always, guys. It's pinned comment down there, and have a great day.